The Accountant 2 sets up a lot of potentially interesting directions for a prospective third film in the series. 2016's The Accountant ended up being a deceptively enduring film, generating enough momentum over the course of nearly a decade to get a sequel with The Accountant 2. Both films focus on Christian Wolf, an accountant who has autism, as well as a secret second life as an resource for criminal organizations. The Accountant 2 does a lot of work expanding the scope of Christian's world, delving deeper into the allies he's surrounded himself with and the enemy forces that are moving behind the scenes. Many of these elements could benefit from expanded focus and could easily drive the plot of a prospective sequel that director Gavin Hood has been developing. Here are all the ways The Accountant 2 sets up future sequels and spin-offs in this universe. Maybeth's allies could bring Christian back in for The Accountant 3. Christian could work closer with Maybeth in future missions. Maribeth Medina, Cynthia Addai Robinson, with an entire investigation behind her in The Accountant 2. Image via Amazon MGM Studios. Maybeth's acceptance of Christian and Justine as assets could set up future team-ups, which could justify plenty of sequels to The Accountant 2. Despite her initial misgivings about the pair and her frustrations with their habit of using extrajudicial tactics to achieve their goals, Maybeth comes to accept them as allies. She even uses their resources as a means of exposing Burke and bringing down his criminal network, much like King recommended in the first film. This could set up future team-ups between Maybeth and Christian, fully transforming her into the successor to King after his death. She could come to see the accountant as a last resort, someone who can turn the tide of a mission on his own. Maybeth may even go directly to Justine and develop a network between her Department of Law Enforcement and the Harbor Neuroscience School. This could wrap the school and Christian into all sorts of adventures on behalf of the government, especially if they have something to hold over them. Honoris could carry her own The Accountant spin-off. Honoris is the ultimate wild card in the Accountant franchise. Daniela Pineda looking suspiciously at Ray in The Accountant 2. Quickly established as a very dangerous assassin, Honoris is a cipher for much of The Accountant 2. Even after her tragic backstory is revealed, she proves to be a wildcard who ends the film sparing Maybeth but hunting down Burke. As a contrast to Christian, Honoris could make for a fascinating secondary lead in the franchise. Honoris' clear connections to the world of underground assassins could expose more of the accountant's riff on the modern cabal of criminals seen in franchises like John Wick. It could also give Daniela Pineda a larger spotlight role, highlighting her skills and commanding screen presence in the lead role of an action epic. The fact that Christian and Honoris still haven't actually faced off is plenty reason enough to bring her back for The Accountant 3. Justine's Harbor Neuroscience School could establish lots of different stories. Harbor could become a major launching pad for new characters and storylines. Ben Affleck's Christian looking solemnly while in a lawn chair on top of his trailer with John Bernthal's Brax in The Accountant 2. One of the most interesting developments in The Accountant 2 is the reintroduction of the Harbor Neuroscience School, which focuses on children who are neurodivergent like Justine and Christian. Some of Justine's students have begun to learn from her example, developing their hacking skills under her tutelage. They're crucial to the investigation in The Accountant 2 and could easily return in a sequel. The school is a natural setting for potential spin-offs, serving as a solid base of operations for Christian and his allies. The school setting is the perfect natural device for introducing new characters, either as students or connected through them. It also offers a great way for the franchise to continue exploring the morally murky actions of Christian and Justine, who may fight to save children but also still work with dangerous criminal organizations. Braxton could recruit Christian for a mission. It might finally be time for Braxton to repay his brother. In both The Accountant and The Accountant 2, Christian is forced to recruit his brother Braxton when the odds he's facing become seemingly insurmountable. In both cases, Braxton comes through and risks his life to aid Christian. This could easily be flipped in a prospective The Accountant 3, which could see the more rough-and-tumble Braxton bringing Christian into his own missions. The more lethal and grim nature of Braxton's missions could offer audiences a new side of Christian, showing how he handles a truly morality-free mission. Braxton could be desperate and turn to his brother as a last resort, which would be a natural way to build up a new foe as a major enemy in the franchise. It might also be a good excuse to keep Christian and Braxton together, as their interplay is the best element of the entire The Accountant franchise. Christian could be exposed and sent on the run. Christian being targeted could take the series in a very different direction. Christian Wolf, Ben Affleck, and Braxton, John Bernthal, with guns and bulletproof vests in The Accountant 2. Despite being involved in several different missions that left a trail of bodies, Christian and his allies have been able to largely avoid public scrutiny. They even have allies in the government, like Maybeth, who could look the other way during their missions. This makes it a natural risk that they could be exposed and sent on the run, which could be the best challenge to throw at Christian in The Accountant 3. Having his resources limited could force the hyper-prepared Christian to scramble, which would be a fascinating threat for him to overcome. It could also be the ideal way to reintroduce Anna Kendrick's Dana as one of the few civilians with full knowledge of who he is and what he does. It could also endanger Maybeth and force Justine on the run. Exposing Christian to the public might make for an ideal follow-up to The Accountant 2.